guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing a War Doctor Big Finish story. This was a Patreon request, actually, and it's one of the early ones that does have John Hurt playing the War Doctor. I think it's called Only the Monstrous is the name of the box set. It's like 3 stories. We're going to be talking about the first part, which is called The Innocent. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. My favorite part of this is probably John Hurt's performance. He's really good in the role. He really has this part toward the beginning where he comes across as very grumpy, and he kind of reminds me of Dr. McCoy from Star Trek when he's talking with the girl that kind of works as his companion. He just meets her in this story, but just as a pseudo-companion. Her name is Rejoice, which is a really weird name. I don't know where that name came from. They just pulled it out of a hat, I think. But her name is Rejoice. She's nice. Whoever it is that's voicing her is doing a really good job with her. Very nice, very kind, very caring. Obviously is concerned about the War Doctor. And he's being a bit snarky and grumpy with her at the beginning, which is, it's really funny. It gave me a good chuckle how snarky he was being and just grumpy old man like he was doing. I did like Captain Grumpy. We also have Jacqueline Pierce in this story. I'm reaching Jacqueline Pierce in Doctor Who before I'm reaching Jacqueline Pierce in Blake 7. Well, I guess technically since I've seen the 2 Doctors, I've already reached Jacqueline Pierce in Doctor Who, but I'm reaching Jacqueline Pierce twice in Doctor Who before I'm reaching Jacqueline Pierce in my Blake 7 watch through. It's not, when is Jacqueline Pierce going to show up in Blake 7? I'm 5 episodes in and I still haven't seen her yet. But we do have Jacqueline Pierce, and that's great. And she's playing kind of this Time Lord character, this Cardinal. I can't remember the name. Begins with an O. And she's doing a great job with the performance. This very authoritative, commanding, proper speaking, you know, I'm the boss. You can tell she's upper management. Let's put it that way. I love the way Jacqueline is playing this role. But I love the need. She understands the need of the Doctor to be there, that to win the time where they need the Doctor. I like the fact that she is not only aware of that fact, but willing to admit that fact. And she kind of has a means justifies the ends attitude to make sure the Doctor is there to help. And the Doctor at the beginning of the story is apparently killed wiping out a Dalek fleet. But she suspects the Doctor survived, which the Doctor did, basically referencing Master Plan. Apparently there was another Dalek time destructor on Kimball, kind of like from Dalek's Master Plan, that went off, destroyed the Dalek fleet. The Doctor survived, but was grievously injured. Not enough to regenerate, apparently, but it wore him down. So he ends up on this mysterious planet he's never been on, where he meets Rejoice. Is that the name? Rejoice? Goofy name. And it actually takes place over, I think he's out for like 100 sunrises, so like 100 days. And then I think he spends another like 130 days toward the end. This takes place over the course of like close to a year. Well, I don't know if their years are like our years, but let's say like 2/3 of a year. And then he has to deal with the situation going on this planet, where the people here are very peace-loving, very kind, and they're being attacked by raiders. Basically, it's a long story. You have to listen to it. And he has to come up with a way to stop that, which he does very simply, actually. He actually resolves the situation there very simply. And then one of the Time Lords finds him, finds out he's still alive, and the actress voicing that Time Lord's really good. She's very much that, but I'm a Time Lord, you'll do as I say, Doctor. And he's like, don't call me that. I really like the fact the War Doctor doesn't like being called the Doctor. That happens several times in the story where he's called the Doctor, and he's like, don't call me that. That's not my name. Do not call me that. You know, when asked who he is, at one point he's like, nobody. I'm nobody. I really like that he's keeping with the I don't want to be called the Doctor motif that Day of the Doctor kind of established there. And the Time Lord that wants him to come back, this sounds like a younger woman. It's funny because you can, when he's refusing to go, you can almost see her stamping her foot. She gets very indignant about it, which I absolutely love, like a young Time Lord would, or a young sounding Time Lord would, or just a Time Lord would. And then they kind of pull from the War Games and trap him and bring him back to Gallifrey. It even does the kind of time slowing down thing. It very much reminds me of when they take control of his TARDIS and bring him to Gallifrey in Part 9 of the War Games, Part 9 and Part 10 of the War Games. And I love that. I love the little callback to that. It mentions the Eye of Harmony at one point, with Jacqueline Pierce's character taking a big gamble to get the Doctor back to Gallifrey, which is kind of the cliffhanger of the story. And of course, Rejoice is sent back to her world because she's not allowed to go to Gallifrey, so they make sure she gets back to her world soon, safely, supposedly. It was good. It seemed shorter than it was. I mean, it lasted about an hour, but it seemed shorter than that. It seemed more like it was just, you know, being the first War Doctor Big Finish story, I believe. Setting up. This seemed like a lot of setup, kind of just establishing things. And getting the Doctor on Gallifrey really into the mix. But I liked it. I liked the time on the planet. I liked the fact the Doctor's solution to stop the Raiders on the planet was actually, relatively speaking, simple and easy to do. Watching the War Doctor have to kind of recover. He is still suffering from the effects of the Time Destructor. And again, watching how the Time Lords took control of his TARDIS to bring him back to Gallifrey. Standouts, of course, are the performances, especially... John Hurt as the Doctor is great. Jacqueline Pierce as the Cardinal is great. And I really like the girl voicing Rejoice. She's great. The guy voicing her dad is... And then, like I said, what I think is a woman voicing the other younger Time Lord, the one that tracks the Doctor down. It's good. It's not a big cast, but it works very effectively. Enough to where I definitely... want to listen to the other two parts of the story. I think this is the first time I've listened to the War Doctor in Big Finish, and it's great having John Hurt there. Again, he does a lot of little things with his voice that I like. You know, it's not just, he's not just there treating it as a paycheck, reading the lines. He's acting. He's being an amazing actor like John Hurt was. And it's so amazing that we did get 4 box sets before he passed away. It's nice that we got to have him as the War Doctor more. I've also read one of his novels, actually, Engines of War, I think it was, which was a really good novel with the War Doctor. So yeah, I enjoyed The Innocent, enough to where I think I'll move on and listen to the other two parts of this at some point. Have you listened to it? I want to know what you think. Let's talk about it. Comment down below. If you would like to make a Patreon request, because my higher tiers, I believe it's my $10 up tiers, do get a video request once per month. That's what this was. One of my patrons requested this. So I certainly appreciate that, and I certainly hope you enjoyed the review. It's a little all over the place. This is one of those, some stories are really easy to review, some stories are really hard to review. This one's a little harder to review, even though I liked it. It's a shorter story. There's not really a lot of meat on it for me. It's more the performances that work, and this story feels more like setup for what we're going to get in these other box sets. Not just the other two stories in this box set, but for the other 3 box sets, because I believe all 4 of them were done around the same time, released in like 2015, 16, and 17. So I feel like we're setting up, it's like setting up the chessboard for the game. Basically, in the games, you know, this is really just the first move of the chess games, put it that way. So there's not a lot there for me, I think, to really cover. I feel like I talked about everything I really wanted to talk about. Looking forward to the next part. So if you would like to make video requests or stuff like that, check out my Patreon. Several different tiers there to choose from. I do want to give a shout out to one of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney. I appreciate his support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Very much appreciated. I also have a P.O. box down there if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. I do like being able to do reviews for things people send. I'm slowly working my way through those. I also have a link to my Amazon wishlist and a link to my Amazon UK wishlist down there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.